Welcome to the Kindred Spirit Show. I'm your host, Hannah Mary, and I'm so glad to be here with you, my friends, today. I am a homeschool guru and mommy motivator, wife, daughter, sister to 4, and mama to 3. I help women succeed at their most meaningful job, motherhood. I believe you can have joy, clarity, and purpose in your home and schedule, that you have the capacity to raise your children like no one else. Let's make our motherhood a little more meaningful today. Welcome to the podcast today. First off, I just want to say a huge thank you to those of you who have been listening and letting me know that these episodes have been encouraging for you. It means so much to me that you take time out of your schedule to listen to what I have to share on this podcast. So thank you so much for listening today and to any other episodes that you are listening to. I just thank you for being here and for letting me know that you're enjoying it. That's really special. As always, I want to encourage you to subscribe, leave a review, all of those things, but I just wanted to give a huge thank you at the start of this show today. I really toyed around with what I wanted this episode to look like and how I wanted to encourage you today. I thought maybe I would talk about the first Thanksgiving or how to teach your kids about Thanksgiving. I thought about just doing a more laid back episode where I'm just rambling, but nobody wants that. So where I finally landed is to share exactly what we're doing in our house, in our learning for the month of November for our family. What we'll be reading, what we'll be learning, the activities we'll be doing. I wanted to really give you a picture of what you can do, even in just like the next couple of weeks, to bring some really meaningful interactions into your home and your schedule with your kids. The one thing I have found the most helpful in my schedule during a major holiday, but also just in general, is to notice what we already have on the schedule and then just heighten the learning that we can get out of it. So I try to stick very closely to the natural rhythm of what's going to happen and just insert learning around what I already know is going to go on. So for Thanksgiving, we take the entire month of November to dig into Thanksgiving and being grateful and American history, all of those things. Sometimes this is on top of our quote-unquote normal stuff, our regular school, but it can also be instead of our quote-unquote normal stuff, just depending on the activity and the week and where we're at in our lives. So I'm going to share with you what all we're doing this year and why, but I want to preface this by saying that I've worked really hard to find the right balance for our family. We are very purposeful in what we do during the holidays, and I've really honed that over the last couple of years. I've worked really hard to get where we are with a really good schedule. I'll get more into how I schedule things in later episodes. I am going to talk about that. I know several of you have asked about my bullet journal and my scheduling and how I fit all of this stuff in, and I am going to get to that on a later episode. But today, I just want to say that if any part of this just sounds overwhelming to you, know that the only reason it's not overwhelming me is because of the time I've taken to really figure out how to do this and what it looks like for us. So no pressure. I'm just sharing what we're doing. Take what works for you, take what sounds interesting, and leave everything else to the side. Because I don't want you to leave this episode feeling like you have to go do 4,000 things. I want you to just be encouraged to insert something. Just do something. Okay, so this year, our month of November is going to look like this. I'm going to list everything, and then I'll break it down for you. So this year, we are going to do 30 days of thankfulness prompts as a family. We are going to read aloud together at least 6 times. The kids are going to memorize 2 hymns and at least part of Psalm 136. We will discuss the history of Thanksgiving. We have crafts for each day of the week of the actual week of Thanksgiving, and we will also have other arts and crafts available to do during the month. Oh, and 2 movie nights. So if you're thinking that sounds like a lot of things, you should know that that is way less than what my overachieving self would really like to do and has tried to do in the past. I've really learned how to take my list and cut it down and really focus on what's essential. So let's break down each of the activities we're doing so you can get a picture of what this is actually going to look like for our family, because some of these sound way more overwhelming than what they actually are in practice. Okay. First off, we do 30 days of thankfulness prompts. I talked about in another episode, I believe it was last week's episode, that we used to do 30 days of thankfulness, and I would just in the morning say to my family, "What are you thankful for today?" And they'd be like, "This bowl of cereal I'm eating." Or they would be like, "That chair over there." And I just wasn't feeling it, right? I was like, no, I really want you to dig down deep, do some soul searching, and like really be grateful for something. So I decided, I saw this idea somewhere. I don't even know where, but I decided we would try it. And I created little cards that have things to be thankful for on them. So they're prompts. They say things like, I'm thankful for something red, or I am thankful for the person to my left because. And those are available for download in the show notes if you are looking to use those. The nice thing about these is that they help us to not just cop out. They help everyone to really be thankful and really think through like something that they can be grateful for. Now, I figured something out last year that I don't know why I didn't think of this before. So, blended families, listen up. Our daughter is with us every other week for a full week. And so we don't have her all 30 days of the month of November. Can anyone out there do basic math? What is 7 plus 7? 14, for those who may be a little slow. And then if you add 14 to 14, that's 28. So you're 2 shy of 30. So if we have her for 2 full weeks, and I do 2 prompts a day, that gets me to 28. So instead of getting to the point where we would like do the prompts while she was here and then we would all do the prompts, but then she'd have to catch up, I just quit doing them on the weeks she's not here. We only do them the weeks she's here. We do 2 a day. And then to make up those last 2, we just throw in the extra ones at our pre-Thanksgiving dinner, which I'll talk about in a minute. I have a ton of examples of how we've displayed these words of thankfulness over the years on my social media accounts. If you just like scroll through my Instagram, you'll see every year I have a picture of our thankfulness things. So we have done everything. I love displaying them. First off, I love displaying our thankfulness things because I want us to see them daily. I want it to be a reminder to us of all the things. I want to see that collection of things we're thankful for grow. And yes, I am that mom who has a bag, like a Ziploc bag with all of our thankfuls in it since the very first year that we started doing this. I can literally go back and pull them all out and we can look at them over the years. And I think that is amazing. If my kids ever complain, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be like, look at all the things you're thankful for. Anyway, so I like the visual of seeing whatever it is we're doing like fill up and become more and more over the month. So we've done so many different versions of this. Our current version of this is we have this really cute amber glass jar from the Magnolia line at Target that I bought with a gift card. It was the best purchase I've ever made. And I just go collect sticks from outside and like make a faux tree of sticks in this jar. And we hang little tags with our thankfulness on it. So it's like leaves on the tree. That's the current iteration of our thankfulness display. We've also just put them in a jar or a bag before. We've made our papers look like leaves and hung them like with string before. So it looks like falling leaves. We've done feathers and done like falling feathers. That one was fun. So when we first started doing these every year, I made like this big board that I had seen on Pinterest that had like envelopes cut in half for each day. So then you just stuck your thankful pages into each one. And I tried to keep that straight for about 2 years. And then I got really tired of it. And I just pulled all the papers out and threw the board away because it had moved with us and gotten broken. So that was one way we did it also. There's lots and lots of fun options for how to display your thankfulness things. So go do a Google search or a Pinterest search and just pick one that you love and just go with it. Okay, reading. We've discussed this in a previous episode, and we've discussed that this is a big focus for our family. And what kinds of books we try to read together as a family. That is the I believe it's called 5 books to read with your family or something like that. It's episode 3 or 4. We are not very far into this podcast, guys. It's not hard to find previous episodes yet. So this is a big focus for us. I have, I believe, 8 or 10 nights written down that we will read on those nights. But ultimately, I know that some of those nights are probably going to not work out for various reasons. Some kid's going to throw a fit and go to bed early, or we're going to have something come up that day and we are just going to be exhausted by the end of the day and not want to read, or, various other things could pop up. Realistically, I am really aiming for the goal of reading at least 6 nights. 6 nights of reading is a really good amount also because we only read on the weeks, again, when our daughter is here. We are going to do some reading during Christmas time this year with just Aiden, our son, but for Thanksgiving, for just our general reading nights, we're going to stick to weeks when Shelly is here. So because of that, 6 is a really good number. That's 3 nights a week for the weeks that she's here. So that's really 8 to 10 is a huge goal. 6 is very realistic. So I know that even though I have it written down a bunch of times, we're probably only going to hit 3 a week, but that's really good for us. I do have 2 movies slated for family movie nights this time as well, so we'll see how that goes. If anything gets chopped around here, it's a movie night because we prefer to get the reading done rather than the movie. But I do have 2 picked. We picked Pollyanna. 1, because I don't think we've watched this movie with our children yet, and it is a classic. 2, because Pollyanna is incredibly joyful and thankful and a great movie to have discussion around attitude with. Holy cow. And then number 3 is because I just wanted to watch it. And I've been wanting to watch it with our kids for a while, and I finally just put it on the schedule. The second one that I picked is there's a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and then there's also a Coming to America Charlie Brown, and they're about the same length of time. They're a little bit shorter, so we'll probably watch both of those together, and they're a really fun way to get some humor in around the topic and let the kids watch something they'll enjoy. We'll hand them a bowl of popcorn. They'll be like, thank you for letting us watch a movie, and it'll be a great night.
Hey, are you there? I need to share with you the hardest thing about homeschooling. Records. Ooh, they can feel hard to keep up on, plus remembering what you want to keep track of can be super difficult. If you're struggling to know where you're going in your homeschool journey or need help tracking your child's learning and achievements, I have amazing news for you. How to Record Keep, my downloadable PDF book, is available now. It's only $15 and has over 20 printable pages to help you plan, track, and assess your child's academic activities. Don't wait to grab it because the price won't last long. Feel confident in your journey and do less work because it's all here for you in How to Record Keep. Grab your copy today.
So I try to set goals for what we will learn or do during holiday months and seasons. And I believe in what I would call a liturgical approach, where we emphasize the season to create learning opportunities. So if you are familiar with the liturgy, which is a church term, you usually would see this in Catholic churches, Lutheran churches, more formal churches. So if you aren't familiar with that, then you may not know what this is. But basically, there are specific scriptures and colors and hymns and all of these things that go with the seasons. And the idea is that it is kind of a play throughout the year that reminds you of all the major points of your faith. And so I use the same kind of approach in our home where all of the colors in our home change. I put out fall colors for fall and we get out fall books, and it's the same idea. It's very immersive and I really love it because I think it creates both good memories and memories of the things I want them to learn. So memory and learning are very interconnected, and actually children learn better and memorize better in a loving, hospitable kind of environment. So doing this for me is not just about creating memory, but really helping my kids to hold on to the things I want to pass on to them value-wise as well. So for us, this does also include spiritual learning because we are Christians. We do have a strong faith, and that is something we want to pass on to our kids. So this year I've set the goal for the kids to learn 2 very basic hymns. We Gather Together and the doxology. They're both just little 1-verse hymns that we're going to learn. We Gather Together technically has more than 1 verse, but we're just going to learn the first one. They both focus around creation, worship, thankfulness, coming together, harvest, those kinds of themes. So that makes sense for this time of year. We will also be borrowing from some church tradition as we read Psalm 136 every day in the call and response style. For those who aren't familiar with Psalm 136, it is the psalm that says from the rising to the setting sun, his love endures forever. But basically, there's a phrase, and then after every phrase, it alternates to his love endures forever. So when we read this call and response, what will happen is I will read, from the rising to the setting sun, and then the kids will say his love endures forever. But in doing it this way, it creates memory, and they will start to remember the phrases I'm saying and we're hearing out loud every day. And so it's my goal that at a certain point they will kind of not just do the response, but kind of remember some of the calls before the response. So that is how we're going to be doing that this year. This is something I'm going to do every day, even if our daughter isn't with us that week. I want the hymns and Psalm 136 to really be the focus of our memory work for November. And so during this time, I'm just going to hammer those in. They're going to be constant every single day. And more than likely, because my family is the kind of family we are, the kids will probably sing the hymns for my family at Thanksgiving. When I was little, my parents did this to me. We would learn a whole program. If your kids are not learning a song to sing for the family at Thanksgiving, I'm not sure you're even really homeschooling. I feel like this is a thing. Fellow homeschool people, if you were raised and homeschooled, let me know in the comments if you had to do this too, or if it was just my family. Because this was a major part of growing up for us. We would present poems or a song that we learned or something we wrote for school that year that had to do with Thanksgiving. And it was our own little program. And it was me and my siblings and also our cousins who were also homeschooled. We would get together for rehearsals. Okay, back on topic. I don't need to share my entire life with you, but just a little peek into my childhood. There are pictures of this, by the way, too. So if you know me personally, I have pictures. I can prove to you that we did this. There was outfits a couple of years. Anyway, back on topic. I'm doing this to my children too. I'm making them learn things. They'll probably see it for my family. That was the point. During the week before Thanksgiving, we will be doing some learning about the history of Thanksgiving. I have coloring pages. We'll be using some materials put together by Wall Builders. Love Wall Builders. Wall Builders, I believe it's .com. I will link them in the show notes. Amazing organization. They have the largest collection of privately owned collection of historic documents, items, all of that from the American Revolution. Holy cow, incredible information. Stuff you've just never even knew existed. They have it. So anyway, we're using some videos and some materials from Wall Builders to learn about the first Thanksgiving and the continuing history of Thanksgiving in America. Thanksgiving is truly a unique holiday to our nation, and I think it's important to really study it and how we got to what we do today. Now, we are studying Thanksgiving the week before Thanksgiving because both kids will be here. During the actual week of Thanksgiving, Aiden and I will be reading Thanks for Thanksgiving for his schoolwork that week. It just happened to be in the books we're reading this year, and I was perfect. And then I looked at the things I wanted to do activity-wise, and I was holy cow, this matches up exactly perfect with the lessons that we were going to do. So, worked out perfectly. The other nice thing about having an activity for each day of Thanksgiving week is then if I need him to do something so that I can accomplish something like baking or whatever, I have something I can sit him down with and say, here, do this. So it keeps him out of my hair too, which is just double whammy, right? 2 birds, 1 stone. So the things we will be doing during that week: 1, we will be making ears of corn out of beads and pipe cleaners. 2, we will be making turkey handprints with paint. 3, we will be doing a Thanksgiving story bracelet, which is super cute, and I can tell you guys more about that later. And fall Play-Doh, which is going to be like different scents. So there'll be like a red one that smells like apples, a brown one that smells like cinnamon, that kind of thing. The idea being it's very sensory. I also will leave out some things like coloring pages just for the kids to do at any time during the month. And we also have a bag of things we take with us on Thanksgiving. We actually end up doing 2 Thanksgivings every year, which is a whole other episode about scheduling. I promise to do one. But we do 2 each year. We do either Chris's father's side of the family or my side of the family. And then Chris's mom hosts a Thanksgiving, but never on actual Thanksgiving Day. So we always can make hers because it's not on Thanksgiving Day. So we do 2 a year. We have a bag of activities that we take with us, and so that's also something that my kids can do. We try to keep them off of screens during the holidays, so even if we're at someone else's house, I'm like, here's an activity. One other thing that I do want to touch on that we do as a family is we started this tradition, and I kind of love it, where we sit down regardless of all the kids being here, regardless of anything. And we have dinner the night before Thanksgiving. So a little Thanksgiving Eve dinner. And I make it all fancy, the table fancy, because I don't host Thanksgiving for our family, for either family. Our house is way too small. But I still love to dress up our table. So I get to set the table and make us a dinner. I make lasagna because we're having turkey the next day, so why make one at our house? So a little bit different. We have lasagna and usually salad and a dessert of some kind. And we sit and we are thankful. And we finish our thankfulness prompts if all the kids are here. And we enjoy just a nice evening together, just our nuclear family. And it's kind of this nice calm before the storm of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving. It's going to be a whirlwind kind of day, no matter how much you prepare for it. But it's just this really nice chance to be really intentional with our kids and to enjoy some time just for our family. I want to note here that when I make our schedule for the holiday season, we do say no to a lot of activities. And we purposefully leave our schedule open for family time. And that means our kiddos too. So I don't sign our kids up for activities that take away from our family time at all. I try to pick things that won't interfere with our evenings anyway. So we just say no to a lot of things during this season. And I tell people up front, listen, this is a very busy season for us because all the holidays happen and all our birthdays happen. And on top of that, we are very intentional about our family time during this season. So we are going to be very busy. If you want time with us, please let me know. I will see what we can do, but I am not going to promise anything because we really set aside this time for our family. Any other part of the year, pretty much, we're pretty open. It's nothing against all the really fun, cute little things we could do with church or community or friends. It's just that we are firm in our prioritizing. And we don't say X is going to be priority and then go say yes to Y at the expense of X. We just don't. We do what we say we're going to do. And so at this part of the year, our family is first. So all of that to say that if you want to do something like this, but you are overscheduled, you're probably going to have to pull back and reprioritize. If family is your priority, then make it your priority in action, not just in word. Put your money where your mouth is. That's what I have to say about that. in closing, I just want to say that also it is November 10th right now when you are listening to this, and there is no pressure here for you to be like me. I am hoping that something I shared today will inspire you to do something with your family this season, even if it's just doing 1 week out of this month. You talk about Thanksgiving, or you do a little craft each day, or you sit down and do a couple thankfulness prompts from that download. I hope that I inspired you to really think about how to involve your kids in this season and how to create a home that is giving them memory, not just in a sentimental way, but also in a true like information remembering kind of way. I hope you will take from this a strong sense of family priority, a strong sense of desire to learn, and desire to create an atmosphere of learning in your home around the holidays. This isn't a time where we just give up and take a break. This is the time where we really press in and we really say, this is what's important. And I hope that that came across in this episode, that for us, this stuff is important. And this is where I light up and where I love being at home and homeschooling, because we can do this stuff. Like you don't do this stuff when your kid has to be somewhere like public school for certain amounts of hours. Like you can't shift your schedule to just say, well, today, instead of doing XYZ class, I'm just going to keep you home and we're going to bake cookies for our neighbors. You can't do that. So this is where homeschooling shines, and where I hope you kind of take a little piece of it, even if you are public schooling, and say, okay, we're going to shift our time when they are home and we're going to do something different. I hope that this episode is super inspirational for you, and I really, really, really would love to hear what you do, not just this year, but what you end up planning and doing next year. So even though it's already November 10th, you can do something this year. But these are the kinds of things that I want to stick a little bee in your bonnet, if you will, and have you thinking about, okay, what are we going to do not just this year, but then what do I want our goals to be for next year? Plan ahead a little, and I would love to hear about it. Please let me know in the comments what you guys took away from this episode. I would love to hear from you. If you know me personally, send me a message and just let me know what this episode helped you with. And I will see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening today. I hope you found a little encouragement from today's topic. If you like this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe to it. If you absolutely loved this episode, leave a review. I love reading what you guys have to say about the show. I appreciate your support so much. You can find more from me at foreverkindredspirits.com, including the show notes from this episode, free downloads, and online courses. If you want to join the conversation, you can find the Kindred Spirits Show Facebook group in the show notes for this episode. I will see you next week. I'm always rooting for you.